The villa was unnervingly silent that day, the kind of quiet that made the ticking clock sound deafening. Liam, my husband, had left early in the morning for a hiking trip with his brother, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I didn't mind the solitude, I often welcomed it, but today, it felt heavier, more intrusive. Liam and I had a good marriage. Stable, predictable, and, well, comfortable. Maybe too comfortable. Lately, it felt like we were two actors playing the same roles in a story that had long since lost its plot. I loved him, truly, but somewhere along the way, the spark that once made my heart race had dimmed, buried beneath the routines of everyday life. As I moved from room to room, trying to keep busy, my mind betrayed me, wandering into forbidden territory. I thought of Adrian, Liam's childhood friend. Adrian had always been charming in a way that felt effortless, his magnetic energy drawing people to him like moths to a flame. Liam saw him as a brother, and I knew I shouldn't, but I saw him as something more. We'd shared moments before, nothing serious, just playful banter and lingering glances, but those moments stayed with me longer than they should have. Today, with Liam gone and the house feeling so empty, an idea took hold of me. It was reckless, absurd, and completely out of character. What if I invited Adrian over? The thought sent a jolt of adrenaline through me. I told myself it was innocent, I just needed company. But deep down, I knew better. Still, before I could overthink it, I grabbed my phone and typed out a quick message. Hey, Adrian, any plans today? Liam's out of town, and it's awfully quiet here. My heart raced as I hit send, the seconds stretching into what felt like hours. Then my phone buzzed. Quiet, huh? I can fix that. Be there in an hour. I stared at the message, my pulse pounding in my ears. What was I doing? I had time to call it off, to tell him I'd changed my mind, but instead, I found myself tidying the living room, lighting a candle, and smoothing my dress. When the doorbell rang, my heart nearly leapt out of my chest. I opened the door to find Adrian standing there, his easy smile lighting up his face. He looked casual and effortlessly handsome in a navy sweater and jeans. Hey, Soph, he said, stepping inside. Hope I'm not interrupting your quiet time. Not at all, I replied, my voice shaky despite my efforts to sound composed. We settled on the couch, and before long, we were laughing and talking as we always did. Adrian had this way of making everything feel lighter, like the world wasn't quite so heavy when he was around. But beneath the laughter, there was an undercurrent, a tension neither of us acknowledged but both of us felt. At one point, he leaned back and looked at me, his gaze lingering just a second too long. Do you remember that bonfire night in Lakeview? He asked, his voice low. I froze, the memory rushing back in vivid detail. I do, I said softly. We were so close to. He trailed off, but I knew exactly what he meant. The air between us grew thick, charged with unspoken words and unfulfilled desires. My heart hammered in my chest as I looked at him, my resolve slipping away. What if we didn't stop this time? I whispered, the words escaping before I could second-guess them. His eyes widened slightly, surprise flickering across his face, before it softened into something else, something dangerous and enticing. You're sure? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Yes, I breathed. In that moment, everything shifted. He leaned in, his lips brushing mine in a tentative kiss that quickly deepened. The world outside the villa dissolved, leaving only the two of us and the electric pull between us. His hands found their way to my face, his touch igniting a fire I hadn't felt in years. I gave myself over to the moment, to him, to the thrill of breaking free from the monotony of my life. Time became a blur as we lost ourselves in each other, shedding every layer of inhibition and restraint. But as the first light of dawn crept through the curtains, reality came crashing down like a wave. I lay tangled in Adrian's arms, my heart pounding for reasons entirely different than before. What had I done? Adrian must have sensed the shift in me. He propped himself up on one elbow, his gaze searching mine. You okay? He asked gently, his voice still thick with sleep. I don't know, I admitted, my throat tight. The weight of what I'd done pressed down on me, suffocating the exhilaration I'd felt only hours ago. He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "We'll figure it out," he said, his tone reassuring. But could we? The choices I'd made weren't just fleeting moments, they carried consequences that stretched far beyond this one night. Liam's face flashed in my mind, and guilt twisted in my stomach like a knife. As the sun rose higher, filling the room with light, I realized I was standing at a crossroads. One path led back to the life I knew, the safe, stable life with Liam. The other led into uncharted territory, where passion and uncertainty reigned. I didn't know which path I would choose, but one thing was clear: nothing would ever be the same.